Take a breath. I am Lisa Hurley, activist, author, and community builder. Welcome to Space to Exhale, the podcast, weekly inspiration for self-love and soft living. Folks, and welcome to Space to Exhale, the podcast, a safe, serene sanctuary where we focus on high vibrations, affirmations, soft living, and self-care. I am your host, Lisa Hurley. I'm a 3-time Anthem Award-winning activist, a Reiki master, and the author of Space to Exhale, a handbook for curating a soft, centered, serene life. I'm here to help us all do just that. Relax, take a breath, say no to hustle culture, and yes to a life of ease. My hope and dream is for us all to curate lives that we don't feel we need a break from. And today I am super excited to introduce to you my guest and my friend, Elaine Lin Hering. Elaine, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. Also, that intro was exactly what I needed today. I was literally doing the stretches with the video feed.
Good. Yeah, no, it's like you have to set the tone. You have to set the tone for what we're going to do today.
Totally.
Now, before, you know, you've listened to a few of these, so you know what's about to happen next, and you probably don't want it to happen. But I'm going to introduce you properly.
Okay.
I like to let the people know who they're listening to and why you are here specifically. And so, folks, listen to this and just get ready, because when I read this bio, y'all ain't ready. That's all I'm saying. So, I was reading it and I was like, oh my gosh.
You know what?
So,
I have curated a life that I don't need a break from.
there you go.
How's that?
And it shows in your bio. I love that. So, Elaine Lin Hering helps people build communication, collaboration, and conflict management skills. She has worked on 6 continents, taught at Harvard, Dartmouth, Tufts, UC Berkeley, and UCLA, and is a former lecturer on law at Harvard Law School. That's just paragraph 1, folks. Yes. I'm absolutely going to be the peanut gallery here.
The best.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it. She has worked with coal miners, microfinance organizers, mental health professionals, and senior government leadership. Her clients include name brands such as American Express, Google, Nike, Novartis, Pixar, and the Red Cross. She has been recognized as one of the top management thinkers to watch by Thinkers 50 and is the USA Today best-selling author of Unlearning Silence: How to Speak Your Mind, Unleash Talent, and Live More Fully. Unlearning Silence was named the best personal development human behavior book of 2024 by Porchlight. So once again, Elaine, welcome.
Thank you for having me, allowing me to be in this space with beautiful, brilliant, wise you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I love LinkedIn because moments like this can happen. There's a lot of foolishness on LinkedIn. We both know there's a lot of foolishness, but moments like this and connections like this make all of that worth it, because, you know, you and I just connected and vibed and have been supporting each other just quietly behind the scenes. And I love everything about it. Everything. So thank you for really being in community with me.
Absolutely. Right back at you.
Thank you. Thank you. As usual, you folks know before we get into the meat of the episode, and it's going to be juicy. It's going to be a juicy one. We're going to take a moment to exhale together. So we're going to get grounded and take a few deep breaths in whatever way works for you. So if you want to close your eyes, do that. If you are seated, get a bit more comfortable. If you're lying down, sort of on your couch, just like, yeah, wiggle into the couch a little bit, into those
Mm.
cushions, and get really comfortable. Close your eyes and now inhale and exhale. And one more inhale and a deep exhale. And once again, inhale and exhale. Okay, so come back into the room. And as you're coming back in, I want to read to you a brief excerpt from Elaine's USA Today bestselling book, Unlearning Silence. And it is: silence is, by definition, an absence of voice, absence of opinion, absence of life. It starts so subtly that we don't even notice it. Often, silence is the path of least resistance. Too often, it seems the only path. Our habits around silence are so reflexive, we forget we have a choice. When you've learned to live with silence, you forget the possibility of what could be. Wow. Just, I love,
Mm.
I love your words. I had meant to have my copy of Unlearning Silence here because it's just like Post-its now. It's like that beautiful ombre blue and then a sea of yellow Post-its. So it has been redesigned.
Love it. Love
It's
it.
it is a beautiful book, obviously on the outside, but the words and the themes I absolutely love. So my first question for you is, can you share a moment in your life when you realized that your silence was not protecting you anymore, but it was costing you?
Yeah. You want to have these I in the movie version of my life have these big aha moments where the music crescendos and there's tension and then there's the denouement and
Yes.
the clouds break and the everything's clear.
Mm-hmm.
My real life doesn't work like that. Maybe yours does.
How does your real life work? Because your real life is sounding kind of like my real life. So tell me a little more.
I thought about this as I was coming back in the house this morning after dropping off my kid. I had a water bottle, I had a snack box, I had toys, I had like the grocery bag, I had trash from the car. And I thought, this is not the version of us that other people see. Right?
Yeah.
Someone else said to me the other day in sort of a catch up call, tell me everything. I think they were probably expecting something juicy, like some big contract or client engagement or keynote stage, and those are all parts of my life, but my reply, I think, caught them off guard, and I said,
Mm.
"You wanna know everything? My kitchen is sticky right now, and I don't know why."
Listen, my kitchen is sticky. That actually, in its own way, needs to be a t-shirt because that is the reality of life. That is the reality of life. The kitchen is sticky. If you have pets, there's fur
Oh my
everywhere.
god.
There's Legos that are lying in wait for you
Oh,
to step on them,
oh,
right? The
yes.
mail, the mail is piling up, whatever. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, and in terms of space to exhale, you know what? My kitchen is sticky, and can I let it be? Which
Yes.
oftentimes the answer is no,
Yeah, right, right, right. Fair enough. Fair
because
enough.
because I want to get to that exhale and that beautiful space and just a baseline,
Mhm.
just a
Mhm.
baseline, but if there's only so much of me to go around, then I've gotta choose,
Yeah. Yeah.
and maybe I can live with the sticky
Yeah,
for now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do have to live with this sticky for a moment, and sometimes you realize that there is, in some ways, there is a bit of beauty in those sticky moments. There
Mm,
is some beauty,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
There is, I remember, obviously, my niece is very much an adult right now, but I still, how we adults are. We remember them when they were like teeny tiny. She's
Yes.
probably cringing as I'm saying this, but I remember those moments, her tiny little feet and,
Yeah.
just those little hugs. And yeah, sometimes there's like a little element of juice box in the hug, right? But that's okay. That is okay.
It's okay.
So yeah, it is absolutely okay. So
Yeah.
are there moments then when in regular life
Mm.
you have to make a choice between, okay, am I going to choose voice or
Oof,
choose silence? Like
oof.
just in regular everyday
Yeah.
life. I mean, clearly at work,
Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah.
but in everyday life with your family, with
All the time.
your friends, your wider social circle, how
All
do
the
you
time.
navigate those moments?
All the time. Let me actually answer your first question, which is the
It
moment.
can go where, listen, this conversation
I
goes where
know.
we want it to go.
I
We're
know.
in
As I
charge.
was thinking about the sticky, I got distracted. I got to this question of, the silence served me for a
Mhm,
very long time, particularly at work, but also at home. And
mhm,
I was the peacemaker because I didn't seem to have any needs, goals, hopes, dreams of my own that other people needed to solve for. I was
mm,
easy to work with. I was a good team player because I'm just here to serve. Now,
mhm,
what happens? None of your own needs are met. And you also become a shell of the person you could be
mhm,
because you're busy living someone else's life.
mhm.
And it was a wait your turn, Elaine situation
Yes.
in in the workplace that I was part of at the time.
Mm,
And I looked around thinking, well, if I'm waiting my turn, I'm going to be waiting a very long time because the person ahead of me isn't moving.
right.
And so do I really have to play by this supposed norm also? I think we've gotten it wrong. All the calls to just speak up, be louder, clearer, more courageous, more confident, that all seems wrong, off,
Mhm, mhm,
because it is not just about speaking up, but how do we navigate this thing called silence that I've learned from the way I was raised, the family I was part of, right? Youngest daughter, immigrant family from Taiwan to the United States. Grew up in the church, right? Maybe that
mhm.
explains everything.
Listen, you are preaching actually to a lot of people right now, right?
And
There are
this is,
certain
yes,
norms across people of the diaspora, of different
yes,
diasporas, but there are commonalities,
yes,
right? Yeah.
yes.
So I
And
understand what you just said.
so now I will quote from one of my favorite books forthcoming soon, bio author Lisa Hurley. A good life, this is page 17, chapter 1, for those of you taking notes or want to post it when your copy
You are
finally
too
comes.
much.
A good life must be grounded in authenticity. The
Mm,
life of our dreams must be based in who we are in reality, not who someone else thinks we should be.
mm. I love that.
Who are we? Do we know who we are? Are
Right.
we chasing a life
Mhm,
that other people want for us, of us, because it benefits them, because they don't have to change if we can play that role? But do we get to be who we are? And by voice, I mean not just the words you say, but how you get to live.
yeah, yeah. Voice. I loved that you in your book you used the phrase of choosing voice and using voice, and
Mhm.
I had never actually heard it phrased that way.
Yeah.
We do love the coining of a new phrase, right? Yes, yes, we do, right? As word nerds and authors and so
Yeah.
on. And so I loved your framing of choosing voice, but I definitely got the uh I was able to pick up what you were putting down in terms
Mm.
of it's not only literally
Yes.
your voice, your speaking voice. It is your energy, your
Yeah.
presence, how you choose to move through the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
And so something you kind of alluded to just now is the silence that is imposed on
Mm.
us,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And that's part of what we really want to dig into in this episode. Silence that is imposed on us versus
Yes.
silence and stillness that we cultivate within ourselves.
Totally.
And so often we're so used to being silenced
Mhm.
that we don't even know the difference between the two. Like, is it them? Is it us? Is it from the world and society? Is this something that I've selected for myself? Like,
Yeah.
how can people even begin to tell the difference between the two?
Yeah. And even as you're saying that, I notice my body tensing up.
Yeah, yeah.
So for
Listen,
anyone
mine too. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
so
like,
for anyone who needs a breath,
yeah.
let's go back to the
Oh,
to the
exhale.
beautiful space that you have curated to
Thank you.
really exhale,
Mm-hmm.
because part of the work of unlearning silence is realizing that it's there. And
Mm.
that can be incredibly disorienting,
Okay,
right?
say that one more time for the people, because that was a little bit of church right there. Say it one more time.
So part of the work of unlearning silence
Mm-hmm.
is realizing, recognizing that it is there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What parts of myself might I have hidden? Might I have dampened down? Might I have put on the back burner?
Mm-hmm.
Is it because of me, as you're saying? Is it because of someone else? I don't know. It's all woven up in a ball of wax, wound up in a ball of wax,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They at work, they said, "You're too much." Did I start to believe that?
Mm-hmm.
They said I was too loud, too overbearing, too quiet. Fill in the blank.
Mm-hmm.
You hear these narratives, and then we're told you need to take the feedback, and it's hard not to internalize it, particularly if you're getting some of the similar messages at home or in your personal relationships.
Yes. Yes.
Is it them? Is it me? I don't know. By the way, I'm a grown ass woman, and how can I not know who I am?
Yeah.
Now
But a
that's
lot of
an
us don't.
uncomfortable
A
place.
lot of us don't. A lot of us don't.
A lot of us don't. And there's not space to do that because my
Mhm.
life, whether at work or at home, is set up around this person that I
Mhm.
am currently showing up as.
Yeah.
And if I evolve, change, stretch, learn, then the people around me also need to shift.
Mm-hmm. But are
If
they
we're
willing
going,
to?
if we're going to stay in relationship.
Yes.
And there
Yes.
are some relationships that are really hard to extract from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh my
And
gosh.
so it's a shift for everyone. So is it you? Is it me? Well, there's what is my work? Who
Mm-hmm.
am I? I'd start with the internal work,
Yeah.
listening to this podcast, sitting in a meeting, at the dinner table. The
Mm-hmm.
internal work is, what do I think? Do I agree with that? Do I disagree with that? Rather than just ingesting, right? Rather
Yes.
than just
Yes.
nodding and accepting.
Right.
And what do I
Processing,
need?
processing, and consciously deciding.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
critical thinking. And that's why I go back to choice all the time. You ask me, do I choose voice? Do I choose silence throughout life? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Because in every moment I'm thinking, do I agree with this? Do I want to do this? And more listening, is this how I want to be spending my time, energy, my life? The things that we do, the things that we choose or accept, that add it all up, that's your life. But we forget that we have a choice because we're going on to the next thing. Or the people say you got to do this, or this is what you should aspire to.
Right.
When is there work for that? What do I really want? Who
Yeah.
am I? What do I believe? And so that quiet internal work of what do I think? What do I need? Raises your awareness that there is a you in there.
Mm-hmm.
Even when the world does not want to recognize that there is an autonomous, beautiful, unique you with gifts and skills different than anyone else. They just want you to play this role.
Yeah. Because the role that you are playing serves them.
Correct.
And this is, and we love our people, right?
Mm.
This is
Do we?
whether in personal and professional relationships. You'll keep it high level, right? But it is in both personal and professional
Yes.
relationships. But when we start digging into, okay, who are we
Mhm.
beyond the roles
Yes.
that either have been assigned to us, sometimes that we have chosen,
Yep.
and sometimes we choose a role, but then we don't realize, hang on a second, I've outgrown this role.
Yes.
I've outgrown it. I have
Yes.
not sat still long enough. And that's why I wanted to discuss, okay, there's the silence within and the silence without. When you get into the silence within, that's when you get to choose whether or not you even want to interact with the silence without. You get to choose how to use your voice
Yes.
powerfully
Yes.
and in a way that really serves you, as opposed to
Yes.
just showing up on autopilot.
Yes. So the
You,
silence within goes back to your work on authenticity.
mm-hmm,
Do I know who I am? Do I know what I believe? Do I know what I stand for?
mm-hmm.
You could say it's values, right?
Yes. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
do I know what I stand for? And therefore, my actions, behaviors, life choices should flow from that. It
Mhm.
also is a grounding, a centering, an anchoring for all of the noise, all of the wind, all of the waves around us. Do you know who you are? And do you stand by who you are? And if so, you can sleep at night,
Woo!
whatever other people are saying.
Yes. Sleep
Mm.
soundly and well on that satin pillow.
I'm still working on the satin pillow. Way
Listen,
better
it's
for the hair.
necessary. It's so necessary. And it's so good. I mean, okay, like I said, we're in charge of this conversation. So we're going to do a little segue into how good the satin or silk
Yes.
pillows are for hair and skin and all of that good stuff. Like if you're a side sleeper and you are sleeping on a cotton pillow, you are doing yourself a grave disservice. That is just a PSA from us to you.
I feel like you're giving away your secrets and that we should
Oh,
do a before and after, right? I'm currently a cotton pillow
you
cover sleeper. I know. Can
side,
we
side, side or side?
sometimes. I
Elaine,
know. I have much to learn.
we need to give our skin space to exhale. Okay.
Oh, I love this moment because we'll talk a year from now and I will glow more because I have given my
You're already
skin
glowing. You're
space.
already glowing, though.
That's
Yes.
called the ring light.
Right.
It's not real life. But
Ring lights are
also
beautiful for that. Yeah.
that we can grow,
Mm-hmm.
right? We are not stuck where we are now. We can learn to
Yes.
sleep on satin pillows and know what is good for our skin.
Yes.
We can learn to choose, even if we do not believe that we can choose or have
Mhm.
historically had a choice. We can grow, and the people around us will need to figure it out,
Yeah, they will
right?
adjust. They will absolutely adjust. There is I think it's an affirmation in the book. I,
Mm.
I, I hope it is because I'm about to quote it, but it's
Quote it.
definitely something I said. But it
Second
basically
edition.
says, flex, they will adjust.
Mhm. Mhm.
And sorry, go on, you
Yeah,
go ahead. I
I'm
think
gonna
it's aligning with unlearning silence.
totally. I'm gonna do the asterisk there,
Mm-hmm.
just so we know and are emotionally, mentally, relationally prepared.
Mm-hmm.
They will adjust, not without cost, not without
True.
sometimes people kicking and screaming,
True.
not without maybe some sharp words or some silence from them. But
Yeah,
that's the silence without.
that is the silence without.
That does not have to have an influence on the silence within if you know what your values are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
I love that asterisk, and that is very important
yes.
because when you are grounded in your values and when you have done more of that inner work to know who
Mhm.
you are, to just get to know yourself better and
Yes.
get to love yourself better, then yeah, some of these people are going to be a bit mad,
Yes.
upset. There will
Yes.
be some spiky adjustment periods,
Yes.
but
Yes.
that's okay.
Yes. It also makes sense why they might be mad.
Yeah.
If their life has been easier based on the exploitation of your talents,
Mhm.
you are taking away from them
Yeah.
something that they benefited from. So
Yeah.
logically, it makes sense. So do not be caught off guard if and when that spikiness happens. Do
Yes.
not take it as evidence that you are doing something wrong.
No, it is physics, right? Let me just say
Bring
I
it.
am I'm a linguist, so let me just say I'm about to enter into territory I know nothing about. So y'all
She's
just bear
going
with me.
though. She's
But
going.
but basically, it is to each and every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So
Yes.
when you flex, but when I say when you flex, they will adjust. That is what happens. If you push, they're going to push back.
Yes.
Now, sometimes the push can turn into a hug.
Mhm. Mhm.
It can be, oh, I
Mhm.
didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that bothered you.
Yes.
Thank you for you
Yeah.
choosing voice and using voice and speaking up and letting me know,
Yeah.
baby, I'm sorry. It
Right.
could be that. It could be that. We hope.
Yes.
We hope it's that conversation,
Especially if they're calling you baby. That's a
especially if they're calling you baby.
significant
Let's
relationship.
hope that is the conversation.
Yes.
There are times, let's say at work, for example, if you might
Mhm.
flex in whatever way you choose. Flex might
Mhm.
be speaking up in a meeting, standing up for somebody that is being bullied, for example. There are multiple scenarios.
Yep.
Choosing to redirect a conversation to yourself when someone has spoken over you. That's
Mhm.
something you mention a lot in your book,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so you flex. In other words, you defend yourself, you choose to speak up, you redirect,
Mhm.
and they are going to adjust. Now, the adjustment, you might be adjusted up out of the company, right? I'm just saying that that
Yeah.
can happen and has happened.
Yes.
So, like you said, be prepared when you do that flex. Be prepared.
Mhm.
Know that in the terms of the laws of physics, you cannot push without expecting an equal response of
Yes.
some kind.
Yes.
Of some kind, yeah.
And that also goes to choice
Mm-hmm.
of, is this in alignment with my values and how I want to live my life?
Mm.
If I have one life to live, how do I want to live it? I don't want to be staying awake at night on my satin pillow,
Right.
wondering what if.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I,
Exactly.
I do want to say, though, that unlearning silence does not mean saying everything everywhere all the time to everyone, right? The
Definitely.
world is far too noisy. Not everyone deserves your wisdom, your insight. And so part of that choice is, where am I going to spend the spoons? Where am I going to spend that energy? Where am
Mm-hmm.
I going to drop my gems? That's why chapter 3 of the book is When Silence Makes Sense,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than, you've got to speak up in this way at this time or you are a bad person. No, it comes from a place of agency. Is it silence that I'm choosing that can be strategic,
Mm-hmm.
playing the long game? Or is it silence that is chosen for me because there are no other choices? It's too costly.
Yeah.
And that agency to choose for yourself. So is it the silence within? Is it the silence without? Is it a silence you're choosing that
Mm-hmm.
serves you and what you need today and tomorrow and in the days to come? Or is it one that is imposed upon you because this is just the narrow role and the box that you are told to fit in?
I love that. I listen, the honestly, the episode could end now because that was so brilliant. I'm like, how do you even follow that up? I mean, that was absolutely amazing. I chose I normally read an excerpt also from my book
Yes.
in every episode, and I wanted to whew, we're so like aligned,
Mm.
and I actually chose an excerpt. It's very, very short, but I think it ties into what you just spoke
Yeah.
about. There are times when silence makes sense.
Mm.
Um, we do want to unlearn it, but
Yeah.
there are times when we need it. We're not
Mm.
saying to, as you said, we're not saying to just speak all the time. We're not saying that everybody and everything
Totally.
has to be loud. We're not saying anything of that nature.
Yep.
And so there are people like myself, like I'm definitely an introvert,
Mm.
hardcore 1000%. And so silence is a part of my personality and my way of being in the world.
Mhm.
Even as a podcaster, even as somebody
Yeah.
who partially speaks for a living, so to speak,
Yeah.
my default and my natural personality is a quiet one.
Yeah.
And so for people like myself who are not quote unquote naturally quiet,
Mm. Mm.
that tension between, okay, is this my silence, is this my personality,
Yeah.
is it okay to
Oh.
be quiet,
Oh.
because you have to both you have to learn and unlearn. You have
Yes.
to learn and unlearn. And that's why I loved when I got to that chapter in your book. I was like, yes.
Mm.
I'm like, because without that chapter about when silence makes sense, the
Yeah.
book Obviously, you wrote it, but the book
Well,
would have been incomplete because it needed
yes,
that balance.
yes, it's
Yeah.
also what differentiates my book from anything else out on the market.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That I think for those of us who carry subordinate identities based on
Yes.
race, gender, class, ethnicity, whatever it is, we know that silence sometimes is about self-care,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is about survival. You need the both and, because that
Yes.
is the reality of it, but taking it back to agency.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to hear what you've chosen, though, to read
Oh,
from your book.
oh, thank you, thank you. So well, let's get right into it because you and I will continue talking after, but let me just
Absolutely.
read this excerpt from chapter 3, and we've been talking about authenticity, and so this is an excerpt titled "Be Yourself."
Mm.
Of all the lessons I've learned from Mama Bear, who by the way is sitting right next to me, but
Hi, Mama Bear.
Hi, Mama Bear. Of all the lessons I've learned from Mama Bear, this might be the most important one. In a world that insists that we be as strident and extroverted as possible, she demonstrates the power of quietness. She fully embraces her introversion.
Mm.
She's not a boisterous, belligerent, broad strokes person. She's serene, soft spoken, and stately. Oasis vibes. She's never the loudest person in a group, but rest assured she will make the biggest impression. Instead of sucking all the air out of a room, she elevates the energy.
Mm.
She does not chase, she attracts good people, good experiences, good fortune. She stands tall, radiating dignity and positive vibes, and folks are naturally drawn to her.
Mm.
She does not do drama. She vibrates at a level where drama never even enters her ambit. She embodies the energy of peace. Her stillness is one of her strengths. She refuses to be swayed by anyone else thinks she, let me reread that because I messed up. It's a live bloopers, people. Her stillness is one of her strengths. She refuses to be swayed by who anyone else thinks she should be. She shows up unapologetically
Mm.
as herself. Quiet or not, she definitely has main character energy. By modeling the beauty of being calm and quiet, she gave me permission to embrace my introversion and lean into pursuits that align with that trait. Lesson: do you. Be
Mm.
true to yourself. You don't have to be loud to be a leader. And so I chose that because of your chapter 3,
Mm.
right? So the two chapter 3s are talking to each other, and saying, hey, there's a nuance here.
Yes.
There is a nuance. And so I I really do. I'm such a fan of your book, and
Mm.
there are actually very few books that I've read. Like I said, I wish I had remembered to bring it over here because it literally just is posted after posted after
Mm.
posted, like every other page. I'm like, yes,
Mm.
yes. Oh my gosh. But the two chapters are speaking to each other because both of us embrace the art and existence of nuance.
Yeah.
So yes, we need to unlearn silence, but we're not saying just be loud all the time in every context. We're not saying that every person necessarily has to be extroverted. We're saying get to know yourself,
Yes.
be aware of every context, and choose voice strategically and in a way that is grounded in self love,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
choose silence strategically
Yes.
in a way that is grounded in self love. And that's what I love about how our books
Mm.
interplay with each other.
Totally.
I was reading it and I saw so many parallels, but
Yes.
clearly,
And
clearly I'm a fan.
thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. And you cannot love yourself, or we talk about self-care. You
Hmm.
cannot care for yourself or love yourself if you do not know yourself.
Yes, yes.
And how do you know yourself if you have silenced yourself, put your own needs, goals, hopes, dreams, concerns on the back burner for someone else?
Mm,
Or you're in an environment where the people around you silence you. I mean, Unlearning Silence, and the subtitle is Speak Your Mind, Unleash Talent, because there is some work that is not ours to do.
Oh, can you tell us more about that for the people who have not
Yep.
yet read your book?
Yeah.
It's available everywhere. Purchase, purchase. Okay, moving on.
No, thank you. So there is, how do I silence myself, right? All the time, especially for me as a mother, right? My son is, now I'm going to reveal all the secrets of things that parents are not supposed to do, but that I'm doing. That's okay.
Listen, the kitchen is sticky,
Yeah,
right? We're good. We're right. We're vibing now. We're vibing.
we
We are
have
ready now.
dismissed any illusion that our lives look like they do on social media.
No, listen. Let me take this screen down. Y'all would run. Okay, I'm just saying.
I hear you. Let me move the camera to 2
Just a little bit.
centimeters to the right.
Just a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, exactly.
He has nightmares. He
Oh,
has nightmares. What makes him feel safe? To snuggle with mama.
oh, I love that.
Okay, but when he snuggles, he then falls asleep in his deep peace, and then he whaps his arm over on me. Who does not get sleep on their cotton pillow?
Yes. So you're
Um,
on cotton and you're being punched. You're being punched by your baby, right?
There's many layers to this.
It's a twofer. It's a twofer. Exactly.
Am I putting his needs in front of my own in that moment? Yes.
Yeah.
Am I wanting to show up as the mother that I am? I mean, silence is so invasive and so subtle that it is really hard at times to know, is this what I'm choosing? Is this my voice? Is it not? But the thing is, what you have chosen in the past or chose yesterday or last night does not have to be what you choose today or tomorrow. And taking the pressure off that choice makes me who I am versus I am learning, growing, I'm experimenting with my voice, I'm figuring it out, I'm making the best choice that I can based on the data that I have today. There's that. Then there is, how does the world or how the people that I work with or around me silence me? Well, I'd argue that there's this expectation in the world at large that mothers should be self-sacrificial, always present, baking homemade cookies for the school fundraiser with a smile on your face. If we play into that, it can erase the uniqueness of who we are and the reality of our sticky kitchens,
Right.
and poor sleep.
Yes. So how do you? So for people who, many of us, choose self-imposed silence in uncomfortable situations.
Yeah.
You know, I will admit I'm often a fan of the path of least resistance.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have, it's, you know, two sides. I have a fighter side, and then I have I can't be bothered side. I can't do this right now side, right?
Yeah.
But how do you do the work of really deciding that when, you know, like in a PTA situation or something similar, right? And and you come in with your Kroger's cookies.
Yep.
Listen, let's just listen. We're gonna talk reality now. You come in with your Kroger's cookies,
Yes.
in the bag.
Yes, of course.
In the clam case, right? You haven't even repackaged. You have not repackaged nothing. They're just there.
And then the judgment of
the judgment
from the plastic-free folks.
From the plastic-free folks, and you feel like you're in Game of Thrones, and people are saying shame, shame, shame.
Yes.
And but people don't realize, wait, this is actually all this mom could do.
Correct.
This is all on this given day. This is what she could do, because you don't know what else she has going on.
Yeah.
It's a miracle the kid is bathed, dressed, clean, and presentable. All their supplies are there, right? Listen, a bunch of little miracles had to go into her showing up there with the Kroger bag, and the cupcakes that you're judging her for.
Okay, yeah. You know my favorite part of that, though, and it reminds me of the passage you read about Mama Bear, is that as we do that with our Kroger's cookies, in the plastic, it allows other people to do it too.
Yes.
that we actually create new norms by
Mm,
how we show up and what we deem acceptable.
mhm.
And that part that you said of no one else knows, right? The reason I hang on to agency of when you choose to use your voice and when you choose to stay silent is because no one else knows what you are carrying, what demons you are fighting, what miracles it took for you to just be here.
Yeah, exactly.
Never mind the cookies,
Yeah. Never mind the
right?
cookies.
Never mind the
I
cookies.
mean, even for this show, it's everything, right? You and I calling each other on the phone. Da, 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 it just listen, people. This is reality, okay?
Yes.
This part that you're seeing, lovely, and
Yes.
equally authentic in its own way. There
Yes.
is also the behind the scenes.
Yes.
Do you have the right link? Is it the student? All this stuff,
Yes.
right? And just translate that to everybody's life. There is a behind the scenes, a behind the screen, right?
Absolutely.
For everybody's life. And I wish more people took that into consideration when having the audacity
Mm, mm.
to show up with that kind of, the Kroger's judgment. Like, no, just enjoy the cookies. They're delicious.
Also, is the Kroger's judgment really coming from them or is it coming from me? Because if the
Mm.
judgment is coming from me, I can do something about that much more easily.
You mean, is it like, are you judging yourself or
Yes,
projecting that onto them because they might not be judging you at all?
correct.
Ooh,
This is
that's
spotlight
good.
effect in action, right? I'm
Hmm.
thinking more about my Kroger's cookies than anyone else.
Yes.
Everyone else is like, great, we got food. Or
Hmm.
what about my cookies? Or you know
Yes.
what? I don't even bring cookies. I signed up for napkins.
Listen, let me just tell you, the napkins and soda and plastic cutlery. I'm
We
just
need them too. We need them too, right?
we need them too.
What expectations?
Yeah.
I'm first one to raise my hand, guilty of this, right? What
Mhm.
expectations do I have of myself, of what my life should look like? And therefore am telling myself I'm not measuring up because of the expectations I had for myself. Now I may have internalized them from other people,
Mhm.
from the big screen, from the small screen,
Right.
but if my narrative is I showed up, I'm here for my kid, I even brought cookies, right? That's a
Mm,
win. And you know what? Side eye, plastic free, homemade baked cookies, that's on you. If that's how you want to live, you do you. Let me do me.
mm.
That I can control. That gives me some space to exhale because my voice is going to be doing what I can. And today that's Kroger's cookies.
Yeah, I love that. I
I,
love that at the top of the show, you made sure to, and in the middle, that you made sure to reframe that the voice is a concept as opposed to a biological part of the body. You see what I'm saying? Yes, yes, we have voices and we use them, but it really is, you are speaking at a conceptual level in terms of agency.
Voice is how you move through the world.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that.
Voice is how you move through the world. And I got to follow this cookie conversation up because you've given us license to go wherever we want.
Oh,
My
absolutely.
favorite,
Yeah.
my neighbor spent time making cookies from scratch, like asked me for an easy kid accessible recipe so they could have
Mhm.
bonding time with their kids. Took them 4 hours. Cookies did not turn out well. They showed up to the potluck. Everybody else bought store made. Right. And then who's the odd person out?
The person that did
Yeah.
homemade. Wow,
So
interesting.
do you.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you. Instead of this image of what you should be doing,
Mm.
at least take some of the pressure and expectation off. And if you are, oh, let's go to the workplace for a little bit.
Yes, let's
Because if
definitely.
you are a leader with any sort of influence,
Mhm.
if you are not expecting that other people will show up as you do, you need to make that explicit. So, for example,
Mhm,
worked with
mhm,
a
mhm.
CEO who always checked their email on vacation,
Oh,
right?
yes.
PTO, she's checking, she's firing things
Mhm.
back. What happens? everyone else in the organization assumed, regardless of what policy says,
Yes.
regardless of what is legal, I guess we check email around here. So if you lead people, you have the title, you've got to make explicit that I may do this. I do not intend for you to do this, right?
Mhm.
I bring homemade cookies because I love that. I do not expect that of you to mitigate the shame, guilt, pressure,
Mhm.
right? We do not always understand how we silence other people. But
Ooh.
oftentimes, us silencing them is them feeling like they have to fit into the mold or the model that we have laid out.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
So
we've got to dispel that by
yeah.
saying, hey, I'm going to do this. It doesn't mean you need to do it. And also, let me be curious about what makes it easiest for you to show up, for you
Mhm.
to bring your gifts, skills, thoughts, insights, for you to be free, right? For you to exhale because I care about you and want to support you. That's the conversation I would want to have personally, professionally,
Right.
so that we all get to be who we are in the fullness and richness of who we are.
Mm. I just so many gems. It's like every sentence,
Mm,
everything you say is a gem.
mm,
Um, I have a question for you.
yeah,
When we've spoken a lot about tuning in to, you know, the silence within or doing inner work.
yeah.
Are there ways in which one can feel unexpressed voice in the
Mm,
body?
mm.
Have I gone too? Did I go too deep or because you're
No, no, I don't think you went too deep at all. I
Mm,
think it goes back to the reality that our bodies know,
yeah.
right? Whether it's the body keeps the score or otherwise,
Hmm.
our
Hmm.
bodies know. My own experience, I was in a workplace that was not healthy for me. The eczema came out, the hives started, the hair started falling out.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I know I'm not the only one.
Hmm.
So when you talk about unexpressed voice, our
Yeah.
bodies so often know, oh, this isn't right. Or our
Yeah.
intuition or our spidey sense that is not logical or concrete, data driven enough, right?
Hmm.
We are denying wisdom that is there, and our bodies try to tell us
Yeah. Yeah.
louder through reactions. So, absolutely. And I'd argue it goes back to listening to our bodies. What do you need? What do you
Mm.
need right now? Oh, you know what? Actually, right now, if I'm listening, my left shoulder is tense, right
Mm.
there.
Okay. So up towards the ears
Yeah. Well, this one's fine.
and down.
I'm down. Don't over rotate.
I'm like, okay, so left shoulder up and down
Right.
and rotate.
Yes.
Yes.
How often do we pause to do a body scan or check
Hmm.
in to say, what do we need? What's off? Is it just a deep breath?
Hmm.
Because I've been doing this all day
Yes.
without realizing it. And
Yes.
that's what I love about your book. Of every chapter has the breathing exercises, has higher
Mhm.
vibrations. Let's slow down with that structure and the guidance to check in
Yeah.
and nourish, because the world around us is not telling us to slow down, check in, and
No,
nourish.
it is not. It is so often requiring us to just be on that
Yeah,
treadmill, the
yeah,
treadmill, and just keep going without pausing,
yeah.
without taking a moment for a breath, for just a second of stillness,
Yes.
a pause, a reflection,
Mhm,
a break.
mhm.
There's this both spoken and unspoken insistence that we just keep going, doing,
Yes,
producing, working on and on and on. We do it at work, and then we come home, we do it at home, then we go to the PTA, we do it at the PTA, then we go to church, we do it at church, because we're running all the committees, right? And let me tell you, and yes, by we, I am talking about people who identify as women, because
yes,
that is the reality.
yes. It is often the
It
expectation.
is the expectation.
And this is I mean, literally an example in my book, which is, look,
Mhm.
other people are going to use their voice to try to influence how you spend your time, your energy, your life, right?
Yes.
That's just the reality of it. And one might argue that they should.
Please tell me more about that. Yes. Yeah, tell us more
Because
about that.
look, Lisa, I think you're so brilliant. You would be perfect for heading up this committee. And you know what? Lisa does have the skills. She is brilliant. She would head up that committee better than anybody else.
Mm.
But just because she can does not mean that she should or that she wants to.
Mm-hmm.
So if the reality is that everyone's clamoring for your time and pulling, it is your job. Your voice is to listen to your body,
Mm-hmm.
listen to your own priorities, your own needs, to say, is that something that I want to give life to right now?
I, I am laughing not at what you said, but because Latrice, who is behind the scenes producing,
Yes.
thank you so much, Latrice Torres, CEO of Leader Keys. Big up Latrice. But Latrice is behind the scenes producing. I'm laughing because she's also at one point been my coach. I'm like, wait, did they plan?
Maybe, Lisa. Maybe
Maybe
this is just an intervention.
y'all, yeah, right? I'm like, wait, is it my episode or am I being pranked or what is
You're on
happening
the
right
hot
now?
seat. You've been punked.
I have been punked because the number of times she said you have to learn to say no, and I've gotten a lot
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Now, to your point earlier about our point about flexing and people
Mm.
adjusting and the spiky reactions, and so
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of spiky reactions because, to your point,
Yeah.
people have been benefiting from
Yes.
your inability to choose voice
Yes.
and exercise agency and say
Yes.
no,
Yes. And
right?
no, and
Yeah, they know it's so important.
who's not benefiting? Mhm.
Yeah,
The
because then
worn
you're
out.
tired.
Yeah.
Yes, you're exhausted, you're worn out. And let us also add resentful.
Yes.
Let's just be
Oof.
real. We're sticky kitchen. That's it. We're bringing resentful because then we get mad because we said yes to something we didn't want to say
Yes.
yes. Well, we said
Yes.
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 They didn't say yes. We said yes. But now we're mad at them.
So here's nuance. We're going to go nuance.
Nuance. Let's bring in the nuance.
Because correct, we did
Mm-hmm.
not say no.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, did we feel like we could say no?
Did we feel empowered and safe? Did we feel safe
And
to say no?
safe. And so this to me
Mm.
is why everything is interwoven, why it is me unlearning my silence to say no more often if it is not
Mhm.
aligned with my values and who I want to be. It is also everybody else's responsibility and opportunity to make it easier for us to say no. Right?
Okay,
If
can you
I
say can you say
say
that again? Just say that one again. That was brilliant.
it is everyone's opportunity and
Mhm.
responsibility to make it easier for us to say no, make it
Mhm.
easier for us to show up as we are, to actually identify and hold the boundaries. Because we can say no is a complete sentence. We can quote Pooja Lakshman and say boundaries are not co-created. We could say that till we're blue in the face. But
Mhm.
if it is too costly for us to say no, the calculus changes. What do I mean by making it easier for Lisa to say no? Because remember, this is an intervention. Latrice and I are on you. It is Lisa. I think you'd be fantastic for heading up the committee. At the same time, I know you've got a lot of plates that you're spinning and a lot of people who want your time and energy. So, as much as we would love to have you, only say yes if it is genuinely what you want to be doing right now.
Mhm. Mhm.
If not, doors always open. Come back another time. We'd love to have you and really want to be sure it's a good yes. By the
Mhm.
way, I don't want you to give me an answer right now because I don't want this to feel like I'm
Right.
pressuring you.
Mhm.
I'll ping you in a week if I haven't heard from you, but sleep on it. Right?
I love
How much
that.
different is
Woo!
that? How much different a reality would we live
Yes.
in that we can actually co-create for one another? Because as much as I want Lisa to head up the committee, I actually want Lisa to be whole even more.
Yeah. And happy
And
and comfortable,
happy.
and you ideally you want to preserve, hopefully it is a good relationship. Let's assume, make the assumption it's a good relationship, uh,
Yes.
right? And so you want to preserve that positivity and that harmony and that unity and
Yes.
that synergy.
Yes.
Especially when there is a real or perceived power imbalance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It that whole kind of that those kinds of interactions can be
Yes.
difficult,
Yes.
because how are you gonna, especially, let's say you're entry level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Are you going to you're going to use voice and tell your CEO no? Right? Like how?
Yes. And
So
this is
again, as
why,
you said, nuance, context, etc.
yes.
But if you see, whether it is your CEO or other senior leaders in the company, um, reacting in a positive way to
Mm-hmm.
someone who says no,
Mm.
or because a no it can be a flat no.
Yep.
It can also be a not right now, or not quite in this way, or let's negotiate and talk it out some more,
Totally.
right? But if, as the entry level employee, you can see that, hey, it's okay to at least to have a discussion.
Yes.
I don't actually need to feel forced to
Yes.
do this.
Yes.
Then that means that those leaders and that company have created a culture
Yes.
of safety, where people can unlearn their silence,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes on the job,
Yeah.
unlearn their silence, reclaim their voice, and
Yes.
use their agency.
Yes. And here's the value proposition
Mhm.
for leadership for the business. Did you not hire that person because of the value
Mm.
they could add, because of the skills that they bring, because of the lenses to the world that they offer?
Mhm.
And what are you
Exactly.
going to do? Squash that talent? Silence it?
Mhm.
You have AI to do rote things for you. You don't need to pay. You do need to pay for people to think critically and to push
And
back
creatively. Yes,
and
yes,
creatively.
yes.
And so many leaders squash that, which is why chapter 5 of my book is how we silence others. You do not have
I
to
love.
intend to silence people to do it.
Yes, that was so important. Listen, when I tell you that book is church, when I read that chapter, because many of us, and it's not saying it's not real, right?
Mm,
Or is not saying it's not real or true, but it is easy to think of the times when you have been silenced.
yes.
It is easy and even
Yep.
more comfortable in some ways, but to
Yep.
think that you might have been the person that
Yes.
silenced somebody else and made them feel as horrible as
Yeah.
others have made you feel.
Yep.
So that chapter, yes. Yes, 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 yes.
And chapter 9 is
Mhm.
how to stop silencing people. So we're
Mhm.
not just going to hold up the mirror and make you feel uncomfortable.
Mhm.
We don't want you to look away,
Yeah.
right?
So here's some
Here's what
methodologies.
you can
Right.
do.
Here's
Chapter
what you
9.
can do. Yeah.
I also want to highlight, because we were talking about the entry level person and the CEO, right? There's a power imbalance. So two things. One is, if you are the higher power person by hierarchy or tenure or whatever it
Mhm.
is, social capital, lead in the way that you want the world to look, right?
Ooh.
Make it easier for other people than it was for you. None of this queen bee syndrome business.
Mhm.
And second, I've heard this phrase from multiple people, and I cite it in the book: power is invisible to those who have it.
Ooh. True.
When I say that, when I hear it, I'm often thinking about the board, about the leadership team,
Mhm.
about my manager, that they're not thinking about the power that they have. They're so focused on the power that they don't have. But what about me?
Mhm.
What power do I have to
Yeah.
influence how someone else experiences the world? Maybe not for generations, maybe, but just maybe today. And maybe today is enough. That I
Mm.
actually took time to be present with them. That I actually started the meeting by saying, let's all stretch it out, exhale.
Right?
It's a crazy time in the world. And someone else felt seen. What
Mhm.
power do we have, and to make sure that we don't give it up because we're so focused on the power we don't have? It's not condemnation, it's an invitation.
Oh, well, listen, on that note, we are unfortunately going
Mm,
to bring this
mm,
episode to a close, but that was beautiful. I love that. It is not condemnation, it is an invitation.
yeah.
And that invitation holds so much power by you framing it that way. There's so much power in that. An
Mhm.
invitation to check in with yourself,
Yeah.
invitation to examine how you interact with others, how others might be feeling around you,
Mhm.
and making any changes, both for, and really all the changes are for your own good. Like if you're happy,
Yes.
the likelihood is other people around you are going to be happier. You
Yeah.
know,
And they'll
I
adjust.
love it.
They'll adjust.
They, right? They will adjust. They will adjust. So before we sign off,
Yeah.
what are you up to? What are you doing next? Tell the people where they can find you, all of the good stuff.
Yeah, people can find me. Latrice is on it.
He's on it already. Yes.
ElaineLinHering.com. Most active on LinkedIn. You know, Unlearning Silence is about a year out. Where am I? I am trying to get it embedded in high potential leadership development programs because those of us who are unlearning silence, we need managers and leaders who also stop silencing us.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so if you want to lead and be able to fully unleash the talent on your team, you've got to solve for silence. So that's where I'm focused. You know, I think it's going to take 3 to 5 years, but always open to an invitation if anyone can partner on that, wants to partner on it, but mostly an invitation to keep living and creating the worlds that we want to live in, including one where there's space to exhale.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. That is absolutely beautiful. And so today's affirmation, I include an
Mm.
affirmation every episode. I hope that you will like this one. Today's affirmation, we're going to say it 3 times, is I am choosing to use my voice in powerful, productive ways.
Mm.
I am choosing to use my voice in powerful, productive
Productive ways.
ways. I am choosing to use my voice in
In
powerful,
powerful,
productive
productive
ways. Right. So thank you once again, Elaine. This was everything I expected it to be and
Mm.
a whole bunch more. So thank you so much. Thanks for being my guest and for being here with me. And to everybody that is listening and watching, thank you for joining me
Mhm.
today on Space to Exhale, the podcast. Tune in every Tuesday live on LinkedIn to catch the vibes. And if you can't make the live show, subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and YouTube to catch the replay. If you want to dive deeper into what we discussed today, be sure to get a copy of my book, Space to Exhale, which is available at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Wiley Publishing, and wherever books are sold. I'm just warning y'all, this is a long outro today because I have things going on and y'all need to hear about them. So bear with me
Worth
because
every minute.
listen, it is 2 weeks almost to the day before pub day. So this right. I know. So
Until everybody else gets to read the gems that I've already gotten to read.
yay!
Go pre-order now.
Pre-order now. Thank you. So to stay in touch, follow me on LinkedIn and check out my website, spacetoexhalebook.com, for updates about all the soft life shenanigans. And since, as Elaine and I just said, 2 episodes from now on June 17, it will be my publication day. So mark your calendars for 2 very special events. The first is I'll be hosting a virtual launch celebration on Pub Day, Tuesday, June 17th at our usual time, our usual Space to Exhale time of noon Eastern. And then on Saturday, June 21, I will be hosting a fabulous, high vibrational in-person book launch celebration, which is sponsored by Stock, The Great Exhale, Leader Keys Consulting, and Sharon's Anti-Racism newsletter. Tickets are on sale now and seats are limited. So make sure you get yours and you can go to, Latrice has it online there, right? Launch event tickets. It's thegreatexhale.com. And you can also go to spacetoexhalebook.com to secure your seat. I am looking forward to sharing space with you next week when I have a very special guest for you, my sister, Sharon Hurley Hall, author of I'm Tired of Racism. So, once again, thank you. Goodbye for now. I'll see you next week. And remember, you are worthy of rest, you are worthy of love, and you are worthy of having time and space to exhale. Thank you. Goodbye, and I'll see you next week.